Hello friends and welcome to Study Center. We are discussing Indian polity for SSC CGL and this is session 7. And in this session we'll be discussing about the preamble of the constitution and we'll also discuss some of the important words those are mentioned in the preamble. So let's get started with the introduction. America is the first country to begin with a preamble in its constitution, and after that many countries followed this tradition. Preamble is nothing but an introduction to the constitution. It contains the summary or essence of the constitution. In case of India, the preamble is the modified version of objective resolution that was drafted and moved by Nehru in the Constituent Assembly. So far, the preamble has been amended only once, and that too by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976. And in this, 3 new words were been introduced in the preamble, and those are socialist, secular, and integrity. Remember this point, it is a very important point. The Constitution was amended only once, and that was by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. And there 3 new words were introduced, and those are socialist, secular, and integrity. Right? Now let us discuss the ingredients of the preamble. The first thing, the preamble tells us about the source of authority of the Constitution. That means from where the Constitution derives its authority. In the first line of preamble, it is written that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India. That means the preamble states that the Constitution derives its authority from the people of India. Understood? The second thing the preamble tells us about the nature of states. In that line, it is said that we are resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic polity. That means here the nature of states is defined to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and a republic country. Right? Another thing that is written in the preamble is what is the objective of the Constitution. And the following line which says to secure justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought and expression, belief and faith and worship, and equality of status and opportunity, and to promote fraternity among the people. So these were the objectives of the Constitution. That is justice among the people, liberty among the people, equality among the people, and fraternity among the people. Right? The preamble also says about the date of adoption of the Constitution. It is clearly written that in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. That means November 26, 1949 is the date of adoption of the Constitution. But remember, the Constitution came into force on January 26 of 1950. Don't get confused between these two dates. November 26, 1949, the Constitution was adopted. January 26, 1950, it came into force. Now let's discuss each of these terms in details. The first term is sovereign. By sovereign, we mean that India is neither dependent nor a dominion of any other nation. That means India is an independent state and there is no authority above it. That is, it is free to conduct its own affair, be it internal or external. The next important term is socialist. This term was not initially there in the preamble but was added by the 42nd Amendment in the year 1976. So socialism can be divided into 2 categories. One is communistic socialism and other is democratic socialism. And India practices a democratic socialism. By communistic socialism, we mean that everything is controlled by government. In other words, it means that nationalization of all means of production, distribution, and the abolition of private property. Right? Can you tell me which country practices communistic socialism? Yes, China. But in case of democratic socialism, it believes in mixed economy. That is where both public and private sectors coexist side by side. And India practices democratic socialism. The next important term is secular. And this term was also not there initially and was added by the 42nd Amendment 1976. By secular, we mean that India don't have any official religion and all religion in the country have the same status and support. If we talk about Nepal, Buddhism is the state religion and Islam is the state religion of Pakistan. See, the definition of secular is also different for different countries. Like US is also a secular country, but the definition is a bit different. In US, the government won't interfere any religious matter, right? Clear? China is also secular, but the definition is different. Like in China, the state won't support any religious matter. It won't let you to build a temple or pray in the streets of China, right? Can you see the difference? In case of US, if you pray there, or if you build a temple there, or if you build a church there, the government is not going to be interfering you, right? You can do those things in US, but not in case of China. The government won't support any religious matter. But in case of India, it not only supports, but also protects every religion. For example, the Indian government supports and gives protections to the visitors going to Vaishno Devi, and it also supports the visitors going to Hajj. So it's a very beautiful thing that India don't have any official religion and all religion in the country have the same status, and the government supports all religion equally. The next term we're going to discuss is democratic. By democratic, we mean that the position of supreme power by the people. Democracy can be divided into direct democracy or indirect democracy. First, let us understand what is indirect democracy. In case of indirect democracy, people of a country elect representatives on their behalf. And those representatives form a government and then make laws. And this middleman is absent in case of direct democracy. In case of direct democracy, people exercise their supreme power directly. And Switzerland is a country where direct democracy is practiced. And as you have guessed, in India, we practice an indirect democracy. Democracy can further be divided into parliamentary form or presidential form. US follows a presidential form of democracy and India follows parliamentary form of democracy. The next term is republic. A democratic polity can be classified into two categories. Either it can be a monarchy or a republic. By monarchy, we mean that the head of a state enjoys a hereditary position. Like in the case of Britain, they have a queen who is the head of a state and that position is hereditary. But not in case of republic. In case of republic, the head is elected either directly or indirectly for a fixed period. Like in case of USA, where the president of the USA is directly elected by the people. But in case of India, our president, who is the head of a state, is elected indirectly, and that too for a fixed period of time. Another important term that is mentioned in the preamble is justice. In the preamble, justice has three distinct forms: social, economic, and political. By social justice, we mean that all citizens are treated equally irrespective of their status in the society. By economical justice, we mean that there shouldn't be any discrimination between the people on the basis of their economic factors. And a combination of social justice and economic justice is known as distributive justice. And what is political justice? It means that every citizen is given equal priority in the political sphere. It means everyone is allowed to participate in the political system. If anyone who is a citizen of India wants to join the politics, you can. The idea of justice, that is social justice, economical justice and political justice, has been taken from the Russian Revolution. Next is liberty. Liberty means absence of restraints on activities of individuals and at the same time providing opportunity for the development of individual personalities. Article 19 of the Constitution guarantees the freedom of speech and expression. And Article 25 to 28 gives us freedom of religion including belief, faith and worship. But keep in mind, liberty does not mean the license to do whatever one likes, but it has to be enjoyed within the limitation mentioned in the Constitution itself. The liberty which is conceived by the preamble or the fundamental rights is not absolute liberty, but qualified liberty, right? The idea of liberty, equality and fraternity in our preamble has been taken from the French Revolution. Next is equality. Equality means absence of special privileges to any section of the society and the provision of adequate opportunity for individuals without any discrimination, right? And it also ensures that the backward classes are uplifted, right? The preamble secures to all citizens of India equality of status and opportunity. And the provision embraces three dimensions of equality, that is equality in the field of civic, political and economic. Fundamental rights ensures the civic equality. By political equality, we mean two things. One is no person is to be declared ineligible for inclusion in the electoral rolls on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, etc. And point number two is election to the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies to be on the basis of adult suffrage. And what do we understand by economic equality? Economic equality ensures that equal pay for equal work and men and women have equal right to adequate means of livelihood. The last term which we will be discussing in today's session is fraternity. Fraternity means a sense of brotherhood, and the constitution promotes this feeling of fraternity by the system of single citizenship. The preamble declares that fraternity has to ensure two things. Number one is the dignity of individuals, and number two is the unity and integrity of the nation. The word integrity has been added to the preamble by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976. So what is the significance of the preamble? The preamble embodies the basic philosophy and fundamental values on which the Constitution is based. Right? It contains the grand and noble vision of the Constituent Assembly and reflects the dream and aspiration of the founding fathers of the Constitution. Right? Now let us discuss one important thing. That is whether preamble is the part of constitution or not. Right? In the Berubari Union case, the Supreme Court said that the preamble is not the part of the constitution. But in the Kesavananda Bharati case, the Supreme Court rejected the earlier opinion and held that the preamble is in fact a part of constitution. But it clarifies few things, that preamble is neither a source of power to legislature nor a prohibition upon power of legislature. That means no legislature can derive power from the preamble. Okay. Another thing is it is not justificable. This point is very important, that it is not justificable, that is its provisions cannot be enforced in the court of law. Understood? Now let's answer one more question, and that is whether the preamble can be amended. Before the Kesavananda Bharati case, it was urged that preamble cannot be amended as it is not the part of the constitution. But after the Kesavananda Bharati case, the court held that the preamble is in fact a part of constitution and can be amended through Article 368, subject to the condition that no amendment can be done on the basic features. Understood? The court held that the basic elements or the fundamental features of the constitution as contained in the preamble cannot be altered by amendment under Article 368. That means you can amend the preamble, but with the condition that the fundamental features or the basic essence cannot be amended. And the preamble has been amended so far only once, and that was by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in the year 1976. And this act added 3 new terms, those are socialist, secular and integrity to the preamble. So that's it for today's session. Now let's have a look at some of the key points which are important for your exam point of view. The preamble of Indian Constitution is based on the objective resolution that was drafted and moved by Jawaharlal Nehru. So far, the preamble has been amended only once by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, which added 3 new words, and those were socialist, secular and integrity. On November 26, 1949, the Constitution was adopted. Now let us briefly discuss what are the meaning of the important words those are mentioned in the preamble. By sovereign, it means that India is an independent authority and has absolute supreme power to legislate on any subjects of the state. India follows a democratic socialism. That means it has a mixed economy, both public and private sector coexist side by side. And India is also a secular country. That means it has no state religion and all religions have the same status and support. India is also a democratic country. That means it is ruled by the people. India is also a republic country. That means the head of the state is elected. In case of India, president is the head of the state and he is elected indirectly by the people. The preamble also says about justice in 3 forms, that is social, economical and political justice, and liberty of thought, expression, beliefs, faith and worship. It also says about equality of status and opportunity to all citizens of India and a sense of brotherhood among the people of the country. Remember, preamble is a part of constitution but cannot be enforceable in courts of law. Okay, this point is very important. And also remember, preamble can be amended, but the central features or the essence cannot be amended. Well, that's it for the session. We'll see you in the next one where we'll be discussing about union and territories. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.